So I went to Copenhagen over in the merry land of Denmark for 007 and to meet the guys over at IOI. It's a beautiful city. Like, you guys know the Windows home screen picture that pops up dynamically of the like different colored houses? That's literally these houses. Literally these buildings right here. It's beautiful. This was later in the day, and honestly, if you're gonna go to Copenhagen, and honestly most touristy places, I would recommend that you go like at 6 a.m. and you walk around. Way better. Like, tourists are fine. I guess technically I was also a tourist, but it's lots of crowds, as you can tell. When I went out at like 6 a.m., literally nobody was out because I was all jet lagged and my body was like, what is happening? But when I went out at 6 a.m., it was like this. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I went around, looked at the ships. You can charter these things, dude. Like, you can literally take a sailing ship out into the harbor and like pay them to just take you on a day or two trip. It's crazy. I went to the studio over at IOI. These are a bunch of journalists. Cringe, I know. But they're journalists from, I believe, Spain. There were a couple from France sitting right over here. He had a German accent, so I'm not sure who he was with. And then these guys were British. So it's kind of a spread. I don't recall recognizing the name of their outlets, but they were invited. I was also there with Joyce from Jor Raptor's team. Lovely Joyce, who's been on stream actually before. But you see like the big Agent 47 statue downstairs. This is front desk. It was honestly really, really cool and really awesome. And we got to see a whole presentation of the game. We got to meet the game director, studio CEO, the art franchise director, the gameplay director, like everybody. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It was honestly quite cool. And Copenhagen as well. I mean, where I'm from, we have like a Taco John's that every time I see it, I wonder if it's closed because nobody goes into it. We have a Subway that people get food poisoning at all the time. Our Taco Bell usually takes like 45 minutes to get your order. We have a Burger King that a few homeless guys basically live inside of. We don't have anything quite like this. Like this, gorgeous. We don't have anything quite like that. I'll tell you what, just to give you perspective, like those are people, okay? That's how big this thing is. It's crazy. Like, I rounded a corner and this is what you see. You're just like walking down the street and I just see that. Like, how do you live there? How do you get anything done? All day, I'd just be staring at the beautiful buildings and everything. And again, because this was so early in the morning, there's no tourists out. So later in the day, you know, this whole thing was crowded and covered in people. But when people go like on vacation, they're like, I'm going to sleep in. I'm not getting up at 6. Dude, get up at 6. It's the best way. It's the best way to do it. I walked through the palace courtyard without realizing it because it was just honestly so quiet and serene. It was gorgeous. Anyway, the game itself, we got a bunch of presentations. I did like a 50 something minute video on the big channel talking about all this stuff. So if you're interested in my thoughts, you know, in a more structured format, you can definitely check it out there. But we saw this preview that we're going to look at on stream today at that event. However, we were not allowed to see any, like, we weren't given the gameplay until after the state of play happened. So I was operating on notes and memory while describing everything in that video, whereas today in this video and in this segment, we can actually talk about it directly. Now, a couple of interesting tidbits. They did stress that this gameplay we are seeing and that we're going to be looking at today was all captured on a base PlayStation 5, not PS5 Pro, not some bizarre tech unit that's not existing yet. It is being used on a base console, and that's where they captured it. And as you'll see, there are some technical problems that we're going to discuss that were also present when I was shown the gameplay footage. They did say that they are making leaps and strides with optimization and that it's already, I think the exact words they used were, it's already running way better even now, because I would guess they captured this months ago, because they also said that this footage was shown at Gamescom a handful of weeks ago in Germany, but that footage was captured and I believe it was a live demonstration on a PC. And I wonder if that also helped it run better, but I don't know. This guy, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hakan Abrak, game director on 007 First Light.
Hakan Abrak, he is the CEO of IOI. Really cool dude. And again, just the funniest thing about people from Denmark, when they get, like, normally, okay, I say normally, in America, as our excitement level increases, our volume increases at a similar rate. You know, I don't know if it's linear or exponential, but we get louder as our excitement increases, right? For the Danish, it's the opposite, dude. Like, they're down here. So this is your excitement for a topic. Their volume level drops as they get excited. So as he got more and more excited by what he was showing us, and the gameplay goes really well and we're all really impressed, he's getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And it's just so funny to me because we Americans are the polar opposite. It's like, we are really excited to show you what we have to show you today, and I'm very excited for the team to be able to show their passion. And it's just funny to me. It's just funny. There's not much more to it than that. I just find it funny. Okay. Also, shout out to his shirt. He's got the little ducky. I do have the 007 rubber ducky that they gave me right there. It is a rubber ducky dressed like James Bond that you might see in some of the pictures and stuff. And it's an old IOI running gag with the rubber duckies. But anyway, continue. Hakan, sorry.
I know everyone has been waiting patiently to finally see our game, and that's exactly why we're here today. So without further ado, and on behalf of our talented team, I'm incredibly proud to introduce an extended playthrough of Bond's first mission as a recruit. Please enjoy our gameplay premiere of 007 First Light.
Yeah, buddy!
This is a black tag operation, so discretion, ladies and gentlemen, is critical.
Now, we got a little bit more lead-in than I think the public did. So there's a little bit of dialogue going back and forth right now between the characters that is not particularly important because we don't know the broader intricacies of the story. But basically, 007 or Bond rather is discovered after some event occurs while he's in the Navy. They were very, very hush-hush about that, but something major happens, and it's a big inciting event that catches the attention of MI6 and has them recruit him, basically. And then this mission is the first time that he's being put to the test, and they're trying to see what he's actually capable of. Now, having said that, of course, we immediately see the Jaguar car. They have gone and officially licensed all of these vehicles from the actual brands. So this is not going to be one of those things where it's like where, you know, it's instead of Omega watches, they use Gogega watches. And instead of Jaguar cars, they use Cougar cars. And instead of Aston Martin, they use Bastion David cars. Like, it's not one of those. They've actually gone to the lengths of signing the licensing agreements. And they even showed us pictures and video in the presentation from the audio director of them going out, getting an actual Aston Martin. They go to a racetrack kind of place and they actually film and record it revving the engine in real life to put that in the game. So they've tried to be very, very accurate in those smaller details.
Take a left up ahead, James.
Backseat driver.
What's that, darling?
Just a frog in my throat.
Now, one thing I'm interested in is if there is a big deep dive on this game by the Digital Foundry guys. Because honestly, what I'm guessing is mostly going on is that a lot of this is running at lower resolutions because, again, it's a base PS5. And I'm sure it's going to improve as we get closer to launch. But this game, I would imagine, is probably using PSSR on the PS5 Pro. It's probably rendering more in like the 1440p range, upscaling to 4K on the quality modes. And as for exact performance modes, I don't think they know exactly what they're dealing with quite yet. But yeah, I think visually it's very, very solid. But more than anything, it's about the dynamics. And what you're going to see here, I think, is one of the interesting things. Watch how smooth this is.
Halt. Is everything in order?
Routine inspection, man.
So one of the things they stressed is that they wanted to be able to do seamless transitions between gameplay and cutscenes. They didn't want to have to do constant like fade to blacks and stuff. And so they overhauled big chunks of their engine to make that possible. There are a few growing pains that I can point out if we want to be pedantic. Like for example, as I back up here, one of the telltale signs on that you're using like lower quality settings on a console is shadow pop in and pop out. So for example, just watch like this guy's shadow right here on the wall. It's using a very rough approximation of the shadow right now, but as the car drives closer, you'll see that shadow pop out as it actually renders a realistic shadow and the car approaches. See, now is that a big deal? Probably. No. I don't think so. Okay. The fact that I had to zoom in to show it to you, I think says a lot. And this is one of the points I've tried to stress when we've looked at like trailers and previews and stuff, is that there are some technical issues that are significant in gameplay affecting. There are some that are not. And to a certain extent, we are talking about video games, and there's going to be growing pains with some of them. No game is perfect. Every game has some little problems if you know where to look. Every game has that. Even the most incredible games graphically will always have problems like that. The key is whether it affects the overall game itself. And it's true you can nitpick things within this trailer and you can find little examples. The big problem that we're going to discuss later are like frame drops within high intensity sections, which is much more of a big deal, which I'll talk about when we get there. But I think throwing a fit over these smaller shadows popping in and out, I don't personally think that's a point of major concern or anything.
You think if I sold a kidney, I could afford to stay for a night?
I think I have. Stayed here, I mean. A wedding back in 22.
Doesn't sound like something you'd forget.
Well, the hen was in Cannes, so we flew in by private jet. It's dark and we've been drinking, so...
Oh, well, can.
At least Sheila will be happy.
Private jet.
What?
Nothing. Darling, nothing at all.
What do you make of 009?
So little dialogue mentioning like the difference in wealth between them, you know, which I presume that James Bond is probably, I mean, having served in the Navy initially, I don't think he's got like a lot of cash, you know, so hearing people he's working with casually mention flying on private jets and stuff, he's like, what? What? Which I actually think could lead to some interesting dynamics, right? Like actually seeing an early version of James Bond that's not used to the glitz and glamour and to what we typically associate with James Bond. I do think that could be interesting. It could also get into like cringy territory when he's like, God, eat the rich. I hope it's not that. But I do think that's an interesting dynamic that you could explore.
He was the best in his day. That was a long time ago. My guess is he's tired of running.
Greenway thinks we're being played.
And since when do you trust Greenway?
I never said I did.
They knew each other, though. That much is clear. Something to do with an operation called Nightfall.
That begs the question.
Nightfall.
Did 009 pick Greenway out of good faith or bad blood?
Well, we're about to find out.
Dude, I kind of wish they used those redesigned Jaguar cars. Remember the redesign they announced like a year ago? They said it's younger Dexter. Yeah, it's that actor, I think from Dexter. Yeah, it's that guy. It's the guy everybody thought it was.
Pull up. This is our stop. We're live, gentlemen. Switch to comms. Monroe, with me. James, stay.
Save the world some other time, yeah?
Afternoon. Invitation, please.
Blake and Loretta York. Plus the help.
Welcome to the Grand Carpathian. Parking is right up ahead.
Just be clear, they got out of the car.
Enjoy your stay.
When I was watching this at the studio, I was like, of course, my eyes on the guy on the left. So like, I didn't even process that they had slid out of the car.
Parking is right
So when
up
they
ahead.
moved forward and they're out of the car, I like,
Enjoy your stay.
wait, did they just warp them out? I was like, wait, did I miss that? And then I realized what had happened. That I had tunnel vision.
Right. We're entering the premises. Team status?
Nash, deliver the area. In position.
Singh, staff quarters.
Ronson, conference wing.
Kingsley, first floor suites.
Kingsley.
Bond.
Parking lot. In position.
Greenway, Grand Hall. Switching off comms as instructed. Keep a low profile and don't let your guards down. 009 most certainly won't. Out.
So, as they mentioned a few times, this is an origin story for like James Bond as a character, and so they're trying to start from scratch, framing it very differently than what we're probably used to. It's all about starting from scratch, and so it's weird seeing James Bond acting as a carman, just sitting and waiting on the outside, but hey, you got to start somewhere. And I guess I should say the reason why I point that out is because I did see somebody comment being like, why is James Bond why is 007 being a carman? Why is he just driving a car sitting on the outside? This isn't James Bond.
5-star treatment.
It's like, bro, do you understand origin story?
Oh, I'm stretching my legs.
He goes straight in.
Reporting suspicious behavior.
009?
No. One of the
Now,
hotel staff.
Here's where like the immediate thoughts around like Uncharted similarities kicked in. For one, there's a lot of little bitty details. You can see his hair bouncing up and down as he walks.
009 is our only priority. Stay at your post, James.
009.
That's an order.
Yes, Mom.
Yes, ma'am. Does not do anything. And he continues to work his way up and around. Now, this is all like, what we're about to see is all very familiar if you've played a Hitman game, but if you've not, it might come as somewhat of a surprise. The whole premise of Hitman games is that they want you to have many different routes for everything that you're doing, right? That's the like idea, at least. And what they said was, obviously this is the first mission. Effectively, it's a tutorial. So I imagine they didn't say that it's like they didn't want to talk it down. So they're not going to say this is a simplified version of the mission to teach you how to do it. But they did say by like, or what Hakan, the game director, said was that later areas, they want to make sure that every time you need to get into a place, there's 5, 6, 7 different routes possible, whether that's swiping a security key, climbing in through the window, or finding an extra entrance underneath, you know, through the cellar. They want to have a bunch of different routes for you to be able to do or pursue based on your play style and how you like to approach the objectives. And this is, again, very common and familiar if you played Hitman games, because there's a bajillion different ways to combine solutions to overcome different challenges. But in this case, it's something that they've applied to a more cinematic game like this, which I find very interesting. Here, they intentionally show this, where they show him contextually putting his arm up on the wall as he walks by it. Little contextual animations like that, you don't tend to see a whole lot because it's difficult, but you know, they're just trying to flex. That's the idea of this, at least. You see the hose. You think, can I turn on the hose? You sure can.
What's that?
So sneaky. So we got a little sneak peek of some of the different tools that they're going to use. Instinct, that's what they call it. I could not for the life of me remember the name of that currency. But as you can see, they have a shockwave camera. They have smoke pods, dart phone, and then hand watch as different tools available to you. And what they told us was that there's going to be like your watch you're going to always have with you, but there will be further tools that you can select for the missions you're going on. So if you want to do like 3 different tools that maybe target specifically this like slower tactical gameplay, you can do that. But they also said that there's going to be different tools for all sorts of different play styles, whether you like to primarily poison people or you like to maybe hack stuff a lot more. There's going to be different tools to help do all of that. Beyond that, you can see that there is a focus button right here. And on the flip side over here is another meter. The whole game is built around these like electric, the chemical, and then this, which is instinct meters and resources. The idea is that they want you to be able to use tools, but they don't want to just set it up where like you have 2 uses of your tool in order to complete this mission. Because you won't necessarily know when you play the mission how many times you intend on using that tool. Maybe you need to use it 5 times, but you only have 2 charges. That would be frustrating and annoying, and you just end up with people reloading and then saving that tool and not using the tool that they gave you. So instead, they wanted you to use the tool if you had it and get refills on it by exploring the environment as well, which is also something they want you to do to discover either hidden knickknacks or different routes and opportunities for completing your objective. So while you explore the environment, you might find batteries sitting on a shelf, which can refill your electric meter. You might find like a bottle of pills that can be used to refill your chemicals, and that type of thing. The instinct meter is used for completing like other mini objectives or mini things, like taking out a guard or something. And that's what can be used for luring or bluffing, which is something we'll see in a little bit.
What the? God.
Made him sick. I've always wanted to do this. What? Is it just a guy thing wanting to light a wheelbarrow full of like dried leaves on fire? I just think it'd be fun. Does that make me sound like a psychopath? I just think it'd be fun. I don't know why this just made me think of it. I remember when AC Shadows came out, I saw a video of a guy
Crashing a black tie event.
like he was one of those guys that was just upset and like trying to find any reason to hate AC Shadows that he could come up with. And he was saying, it's so unrealistic that you can just free climb up all of this stuff. It's really dumb because when it's raining, you shouldn't be able to climb it. So they should have it so like 1 in 2 times or 1 in 3 times, you just slip off of the thing you're holding. It's like, bro, can you imagine how annoying that would be? You're like free climbing up something and they just slip and you fall off because like you just got unlucky. It's like, that'd be miserable, dude. Miserable. But he hops in and he says this.
What?
Ken Banks, penetration tester. I need.
You know, I'd like to be a penetration tester. Anyway, thanks guys.
Need to have a stern word with your manager.
Good to have you on the team.
Okay, let me stop you right there. I have bets to make.
Later.
This guy better be worth it.
Oh, this is maybe a good time to point this out. Okay, so I thought of it with that guy, but specifically with like the clothes on the rack and everything. We did ask them if there are disguises, because if you don't know, in Hitman, it's like a common thing. You dress up as a particular class of NPC, and then you can take on their role and their clearances and stuff like that. And what they said was not in the same way as Hitman, but there will be times in the story that make sense for him to wear a disguise, and he will. So there are disguises in the game, but they are not in the same way that Hitman does. And they said that the main reason for that was they're like, watch any James Bond film or the books or whatever. James Bond is not like going into the bathroom, painting on a mustache, and then like stretching his face and then putting on a wig in order to complete every objective in every mission. It's just not how he rolls. He'd rather be smooth and like go into the situation and deal with it in a more James Bond-y way. And I can understand that. Like, there's obviously going to be some things that Hitman you'll do that you aren't going to do here because stylistically and thematically it just doesn't work. But I want to point that out because this made me think of it, and I know it's something that people will be asking about. There are disguises at points in the story where it makes sense, but it's not going to be a mechanic to the same degree as we see in Hitman.
Don't mind me, ladies.
Good afternoon, sir. Which room is here?
Here you'll see them pick up some chemicals that refills that meter.
On his pillow. That's for sure.
Now, let's see what all the fuss is about.
Oh, the World Chess Championship. Hold on, Jarvis, enhance. If you don't know this about me, where have you been? I used to play in chess tournaments in high school, of all times. Yes, I was popular with the ladies. And like even traveled the country playing in like national tournaments and stuff. It was fun. It was a good time. I was hoping this would be way more exciting of a position, but it's pretty bog standard as far as I can tell. Nothing too crazy. Okay. This made me think because it's supposed to be the World Chess Championship, and I can't tell her name. You can't really make it out. Versus an old crusty dude. In World Chess Championships, like I hate to be this guy. For one, they would never, ever, ever have a crowd like this. Recently, there was a whole debate because there was a tournament. I forget if it was in Iceland or something. And there was a debate over whether they were going to allow the audience in at all. And if they were, they wanted to have plexiglass everywhere. And they also wanted to have like headphones on for the contestants so that they wouldn't hear anything and break their concentration. You would never, ever have a raised stage like this with lights on it and then crowds of people all around. Maybe in a private exhibition, which I guess this is sort of supposed to be. I guess, but this is also like the invitational tournament. It's supposed to be the World Chess Championship. It would never happen like this. Also, hate to be that guy. Analog clocks are so 1978. I'm sorry. Hate to be that guy. They're not super accurate compared to the digital stuff. I just don't think you'd ever see an analog clock being used in a tournament like this. Hate to be that guy, but I'm just being real with you. And lastly, and perhaps most damningly, these look like the most uncomfortable chairs I've ever seen in my life. How, like, World Chess Championships, okay, are played with usually a 2-hour +1 control. So often you'll have like 2 hours for your first 40 moves, and then 1 hour is granted to you after you pass the 40 move mark. That's how a lot of these like classical time controls work, which means each player, if you play like a 50, 60, 70 move game, each player is getting 3 hours of thinking time. So the total game can last 6 hours. I wouldn't want to sit in that chair for 6 hours. I'm gonna be real. I'm just being real. Hate to be that guy, but I'm calling it like I see it. There's never been a female competitor in the World Chess Championship. I'm not sure where the highest ranked female ever placed, but for whatever reason, chess has been like completely dominated on the top tier by men. And it's why it's also funny that it's an older dude, because typically like once you hit 35, 40, you're kind of peaking in chess. Some people peak even earlier, and their like stamina drops and they can't play for as long. And so I don't think you'd ever see an old dude like this old playing in a chess championship nowadays. Like the best players in the world are all in their 20s or early 30s. But anyway, it's a separate thing. This is whole This is a whole diatribe. I'm sorry, but I get excited when I see chess in a game like this. This at least is better than a lot of video games, which have chessboards and stuff, but the positions are set up completely wrong. Or the most infuriating thing, this is the last thing, I swear to God. When you set up a chessboard, the white square is supposed to go on the right side, okay? It's just how it works. If you don't set it up that way, then the bishop on the right side of the king is going, like if you're playing white, is going to be on a dark square. If you just think of rotating all of this to the side, it's going to be on a dark square, which isn't how that's supposed to work. Also, the queen starts on her own colored square. So the queen would be starting on the right side instead of the left side, which means the king is going to castle the opposite way. It drives me crazy, but I cannot even begin to tell you how often I see, like in a movie or a TV show or a video game, they've set up a chessboard with the black square on the right side, and it drives me crazy, dude. It drives me up the wall. But I always get excited when they set it up and it's an actual chess set that like makes sense, and it's a position that could actually happen. So shout out to them. They did a good job here with that. But anyway, sorry. Luke's hyperfixation of the day. Anyway, continuing on.
There's Greenway.
Luke, chill, homie. This is about 007. What the hell are you talking about?
Hopefully I'm the last thing on his mind. What are you here for? Kingsley alert. Best not get spotted just yet. Need to build a...
Even that's a good detail. Like, this is one of the details in Hitman that I love. Did you pick up on the dialogue? Listen to the lady. If you have headphones on, she's in the left ear cup. And it's faint, but you can hear it, okay? Listen. Can you believe they chose a Scotch opening? They actually looked up what the Scotch opening is. Wow. I'm so proud. It's refreshing. It's that attention to detail, though, that really takes it above and beyond for me, you know, because it's like you cared enough to do that. I respect it.
Kingsley alert. Best not get spotted just yet. Need to build a case first.
They're still talking about it. It's like, well, it allows you to open bold tactical opportunities early on in the position.
Quiet in the parking lot. No sign of 009. Over.
I will say the environments are pretty.
How do you do?
I've
seen him before.
I think he models for Alexander Dupin.
Oh, right. Now, where do you go?
I kind of hope one day we get a 007 that's just got the thickest Cockney accent. Howdy, governor! Like, dude, I'd be so in for that. I'd be so here for it. I think it'd be great. We need a little representation, you know? Hello, governor! Watch how smooth this is.
Wonder if you could help me.
I'll certainly try, sir.
Did you notice the blonde bellhop who just passed through here?
There's a face to pick out in the lineup. Probably one of the pimps.
I will say, I don't know what it is about this transition specifically, but I thought this was so smooth going into the conversation directly with the NPC. The animation quality on the face goes up significantly, of course, compared to like the normal gameplay facial rigs, which are just, you know, it's like actually significantly better. And it's smooth too.
He was asking for the directions to the backstage area.
A chess fiend. I knew it.
I'd stay clear of him.
Just need a quiet word. Nothing dramatic.
So then they skip forward because they didn't want to spoil everything. Fair enough. Interesting point. When you see his face, it's a little scuffed up. So I'm guessing there was like a fist fight, a boss fight, fist fight or something. You also see some like darkness around here. So I'm wondering if there was like an explosion or something that went off. I don't know, but they wanted to skip it for one reason or another. Yeah, one of those classic chess fights. We all know there's always one of those. Yeah, there's always one of those. These chess guys cannot chill. Anyway. Is that actually okay? This is not important, but I'm just wondering. I've always wondered this. Is that actually like easy to do with your elbow? I feel like I would do that. I'd hit my funny bone and immediately break my own arm. Like, I can't imagine. Maybe if you hit just the sharp part of the bone just right, you can pop it. But I've seen that in so many movies. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do that, man. I guess maybe you go try it now. I'll tell Nikki, no, they told me to do it. Chat told me I had to do it. Did you just punch out the glass window of our car? Yeah, I had to do it. This also is kind of weird. Watch the side of the truck. It's just, it's not important again. Like, these are little things that are going to be improved, but yeah, watch the side of the truck. See? Like, it's a weird texture glitch.
It's got too much of a head start. You need to cut some corners.
Careful what you wish for.
I drive like that normally, so. Bella Ramsey should have been Bond in this game. Well, Bella's busy. Didn't you hear?
Ambulances, watch it.
Gonna be a dad. Family takes precedent, honestly. That's the key. Now, it's here in the coming sections that you're gonna start to see what most people have been pointing out about the gameplay. Looks solid, environments are beautiful, animation quality significantly improved. All of that stuff is certainly the case. But it does appear to be relying really heavily on some sort of temporal upscaler. There's some artifacting in places, whether it's like TSR or FSR, I'm not sure. But it also is struggling to maintain a steady frame rate in these high intensity moments with a lot of physics sim. And you can see, like, I don't know, I'm not doing specific like frame or rather pixel counting, but you can see if you were to pause the screen for one here, you can see some of the remnants of those upscalers, you know, some of the weird checkerboarding stuff that's happening. But more generally in motion, because you're not playing it at one frame at a, per second, you're playing it at full speed like this. And what it effectively does is it just makes the image look blurry. You know, it just kind of blurs it out in those high intensity moments when a lot of details on screen that it's trying to upscale. And then in moments like, I didn't realize what that was. I'm sorry. I just thought, oh, it's a blockade. No, it's literally a herd of sheep that is filled into the road and they're trying to clear them off. That's funny. She yells sheep. I didn't like fully, I thought she was talking about some in the field or something. I didn't realize the entire street is full of sheep. That's just funny to me. But performance is something where in moments like this, it can be the difference between a successful pursuit or hitting a fail state and needing to redo the mission from the last checkpoint. And you can see it's dragging like one of the ropes it picked up that you drove through, like a clothesline or something. So the frame drops in these sections I think are much more significant, but you'll see a rougher example here in just a little bit. Tazmeister. You gotta do this just cause. I will say the smoke effect was pretty.
No, we're talking.
Release the candle tapes. You can't hide them forever, Luke. We'll find out. The truth will prevail. Back in the tunnel. That poor car.
Plenty of his friends, though. I'm not loving the odds.
I've had worse.
Well, in that case, get down there, draw their fire. I'll flank them. We need to keep that plane on the ground.
Well, what are we waiting for?
There's that English sang-froid. Bonne chance, James.
Yeah, buddy. And then into a shootout. Now, it's in these sections specifically. I want you to keep an eye on like big explosions, and then once they get on the plane, there's a couple of moments that it's a bit rough. But ultimately, like a lot of this is going to come down to like gut checks, gut vibes. Does this look interesting? Does this look fun? Is it something you'd be interested in playing? And that's where I think this game is going to be made or broken. Like, people will put up with some optimization shortcomings if they just think it looks cool, you know? I do think this section is intended to basically be just a crazy big, high intensity action sequence. Lots of explosions for explosion's sake. And I feel like some people have kind of forgotten that James Bond ultimately is like action thriller and espionage, of course, mixed in there. But it's still a blockbuster series at the end of the day. Like, it's a blockbuster film series, and it's blockbuster as much as a book series can be blockbusters, but it's about these types of moments, these really high intensity moments interspersed with political intrigue and dark and gritty stories with interesting villains. This I thought was cool too. You just dive off the face of the shelf of them. You see the big red barrels. I will confess, I was a little annoying when I saw this at the studio, because you see the big red barrels. You just are like, please shoot them, please. I want to see what happens. So I did dare them. I said, do it, and they did it. So there is chugging a good bit. It chugged a little bit. It caught back up. Explosion. Just chuck the rifle right at the dude's head because it runs out of ammo. And then you see you refilled some more of that, I think they called it instinct bar or a resource. Like the oil can, and it blows up. And this also, I think, has other implications within missions. So imagine you're going after an assassination target and they walk near the oil can. So maybe what you do is you like stab or shoot at the oil can. It spills a bunch of oil on the ground, and then you can ignite it, lighting the targets on fire that walk through it and stuff like that. There's all sorts of dynamics like that that are, again, very present in games like Hitman. But you just don't tend to see that much gameplay dynamism in like these types of cinematic games. You just don't tend to see it because it's tough to do. Dude, can you imagine how impossible it would be to play any of these games if like realistic shrapnel were a thing? Like, you couldn't do anything. Every single thing you do in the game would be, you're dead. It just doesn't work. Look at this. It transitions. You hop in. That's pretty smooth. That's cool. There's no way these vehicles can actually go that fast, can they? Maybe they can. I feel like you shouldn't shoot at the gigantic jet turbines. I think it's a bad idea.
Talk about winging it.
He said winging it because he's on a plane. Yeah, this is another one of those moments. Is it a big deal? No. But like, look at the shadow behind the plane. Like, I don't know what this is, but there's just a gigantic shadow. But again, this is one of those things where like we can nitpick all day, every day. There's always going to be something. Chances are when you're playing, you wouldn't even notice it because your eyes are centered on the character and you're fighting guys. Then your eyes go over here because you're fighting that guy. And it's always really hard to tell because just because you notice something when you're watching a video of gameplay does not mean you would have noticed it while playing. And all of video games are kind of this like, it kind of is this shell game where you're trying to distract over here so you can sneak over here. It's the sleight of hand that's involved. But yeah, Uncharted is a decade old and still looks way better. I would argue, and I've played all of the Uncharted games multiple times, and I do really, really love Uncharted, don't get me wrong. But I would argue that Uncharted has nowhere near the complexity of gameplay that is being presented here. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's bad. But Uncharted, like the gameplay, it's like I said in the big video on the main channel, Uncharted's gameplay is pretty much to service the story, and the story and the presentation is where it really excels. So you would expect it to still look very, very good. And it's an absolute triumph of a game in presentation, absolutely. But in terms of gameplay, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Like you jump and you swing, maybe you move this crate over here. There's an occasional puzzle, and then there's like really, really basic cover-based shooting. There's very little dynamically going on. Whereas if you've ever played an IOI game, you know the name of the game is dynamics. It is all about how this NPC interacts with this NPC and how you can get this guy to do this by doing this action over there, and then that ties this behavior to that one, and you can lead this crowd over there by doing this. It's all about dynamics. So it's just fundamentally a different kind of thing, you know? This I did find fun. This was like straight up Stormtrooper aiming though. I feel like, how do you miss this? You know, I get it. It's an action movie scene. You can't have James Bond get shot right at this moment, but it is a little funny that he's like 10 feet away. He's like, completely missing. It's just funny. Look at this, taking off. Poor guy.
Okay, 009.
And then you're in the plane.
Next.
Oh, dust in his eyes? Oh, maybe that's it. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Did you kill the transponder? No such thing on the radio stations 24.
Okay, you hop down.
No one's tracking.
Your head's sticking out.
Plane's flying dark. It's all up to me. Think. Need a way to force it down.
Overriding tilt controls.
Let's make some turbulence.
So how they described this was bespoke gameplay mechanics. In other words, they want to have certain times where there is a gameplay system introduced just for that mission. It's not something like, it's not like there's going to be 5 other plane rides in this campaign where you're doing this. You know, this is just for this sequence. And they said there's going to be multiple things like this throughout the game where it's some sort of specific hacking or override or something you did just for that moment, which allows them to do more creative and unique things. Yeah, bespoke is so fancy. Yeah, what were we watching? We were watching something where they said bespoke like 15,000 times. It was like honestly kind of distracting. Yeah, you guys remember, right? Just another Isaac bespoke is word of the year in game. Yeah, what was it? Was it an IGN? Something. I forget what it. One of you guys will remember. One of you guys will remember. But there was something where it was just like every other word they were using. Oh, RE9. Maybe it was the RE9 IGN thing. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, at Gamescom. You're totally right. It was like Crimson Desert or Resident Evil at Gamescom, and it's like they had just learned the word bespoke and used it 15,000 times in one video. Yeah, that's what it, yeah. Okay, go team. We figured it out. Anyway, continuing on with this. This is the other point where you're going to see major frame drops as well. Like at this point, I think it's running it like down in the high 20s from what I can tell. It's playable, but not by much. It is genuinely cool to be able to tilt the plane, and then they have the physics sim to cause the cars and the crates and stuff to slide. This is cool, but it's like, it's barely playable, you know?
whole moment.
But like, if they can lock the frame rate, this is just unequivocally cool. Like here, the game is struggling to maintain its level. And I think you can even see some hints of what is going on under the hood. I think they have like a dynamic resolution scaling thing turned on with really aggressive motion blur and the temporal upscalers turned on. So it's just blurring out the entire image to try and get it to run better and to hit the frame rate target. But even then, it's still really struggling. But I'll tell you what, if they can get this running locked solid, it will just be super cool. But they got to get it running locked solid, because as of right now, it is rough. Squish. Sucks to suck, dude. Dude almost knocked himself out of the plane. And then it goes back into the cutscene, and it's much more performant. They've got it balanced better for the cutscene stuff. This is like straight out of Uncharted 3. Also the Uncharted movie. Do do do. Sorry.
Need to hit your right.
There you go. There you go.
Gibson, and I'm honored to announce that I'm playing James Bond in IO Interactive's much anticipated game 007 First Light. It's thrilling to be bringing this character to life in the gaming world, and I'm joined by an incredibly talented cast, including Lenny James as Bond's mentor Greenway, Priyanka Burford as M, Alistair McKenzie as Q, Kira Lester as Bond's most fervent supporter Moneypenny, and Noemi Nakai as the enigmatic Ms. Roth.
Bond's...
And then they have a little bit more after this. Really cool. I love big set pieces like that, but they gotta get it running better.
Caleb donated $10 through Super Chat. As an Air Force guy, the first find it hilarious that the plane stayed in the air as soon as he tilted it. That much unsecured cargoing around and it flips and crashes immediately.
Well, and dude, especially once they like opened it up. I don't know how, high that thing. I don't think it can get high that quickly. It was a big plane, but they also depressurize it immediately. And then the cargo starts flying out the side of the plane. And it's like, obviously, again, it's an action movie sequence. Like, it's not supposed to be super grounded, but it is. Yeah. If you know anything about planes, I'm sure it's like, I'm not sure that would work. The other thing is when he climbs out, 2535 is where we're at. This is what I noticed. Like, I played a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know why on earth they would be like popping the whatever they call them. It's a specific name. Flaperons? Are these the flaperons? I don't remember. But these specific things are used for like braking in like landings and stuff. You don't tend to pop these when you're trying to take off. It's not what you typically are trying to do, because this would slow the plane a good bit. But anyway, it's beside the point. Tazmeister, Luke, you have 24 hours to upload the candle incident. We'll see. I don't know. There's the candle documents are lost. We don't know where they went. Let's see. The Iron Broken, thank you for the 5. Not to nitpick, but how did he not get seen climbing? Just saying. Removes the aspect of realism. I could be wrong, but just saying. Oh, you mean up the pipe? I think he specifically distracted the person that was looking over that way with the fire and the leaves. You could argue maybe somebody else would turn around with that and notice him, but it's a video game at some point.
Bond's world is all about what's seen and what's hidden beneath the surface. You've just watched an extended mission playthrough. No commentary, just the raw experience. We hope you liked it just as much as we loved crafting it for you. But there's more than what meets the eye. In this next section, we'll guide you through how it all works. The tools, systems, and choices that shape the gameplay in 007 First Light. Let's take a closer look.
Welcome to the...
And honestly, I really appreciate them doing this. Like, this is genuinely very nice and refreshing to just have a lot of gameplay to sink our teeth into instead of like super carefully curated trailers. It's the other thing I got to give them credit for, which is the fact that they are showing it not synthetic or clinical. Like, they could have done a super crazy experimental build of the game on a simulated PS5 Pro or whatever, and they could have gotten it locked with the frame rate, even though that's not currently where the game is. But instead they showed what the game is right now, at least. And that is one that has some frame problems. And honestly, I would rather them do that and get the feedback on the performance issues now than put out fake trailers effectively and end up surprised when the performance is an issue. Like, I'd much rather them do it this way. I prefer that. I know some people are like, well, they could have at least put the trailer out in a way that doesn't have the frame dips. I'm like, you mean lie to you? Because that's not what the game is right now. I'd rather them present the game as it is and then make improvements. Because now, guess what? If they show another gameplay section or they do another preview where they let people play that mission and we play the mission on a base PS5 and it's not dropping frames, that's going to go a long way. That's going to convince people, wow, they actually improved it even more. Instead of like, you know, just faking the whole thing. So I will give them credit for that. You know, I appreciate that. Why not fix the frame dropping before having the trailer? Well, honestly, like, they are a bit less than a year out from launch. And they, I mean, it's pretty rare for a game that's not at launch to be running really well. Like, it's pretty common for games, even like 3 months out from launch, to still be like kind of rough in terms of performance. Like, a lot of polishing work gets done in those last few months. I've played games at preview events where like 3 months out, I'm like, really? Are we sure? And then you play it at launch and it's running great. No problems. It just depends. I mean, we saw even with like AC Shadows, going back to that, you mentioned that earlier, not you, but somebody in chat mentioned that earlier. That was a game that like was a little rough, like visually and in terms of performance back when it was being shown off and initially, and then they delayed it by 3 months. That turned into 4 technically after the second delay to get it away from whatever that other game was. But they delayed it again, and then it was running great. They even got it Steam Deck verified. It wasn't gonna be Steam Deck verified at first. They were gonna launch it without that verification. And then they delayed it enough and made enough optimizations that it could actually run comfortably on a Steam Deck, because a lot of optimization can happen in those last few months. So I'm sure it's going to be significantly better as we get closer to launch. But why I appreciate them showing it as it is right now is because we can vocalize, yes, you need to fix that. Like, if you launch it like that, people are going to be upset. But if you can fix it up and get it running at least locked at the frame rate at 30 or whatever, then we can talk about it. You know, then we're working. But anyway, let's see this next chunk.
The world of James Bond in 007 First Light, where infiltration and espionage are just 2 of many spycraft skills. In this mission, our unseasoned but highly trained Bond must track an assassin through a sophisticated Kensington gala.
A gala?
You'll want to blend in with the crowd while scouting for tactical options. Creating a mental map of available pathways without giving yourself away.
Trying to get past you.
Go to the security room. It's first floor, east wing, staff offices.
Got it.
Bond must gain access to the upper floors, but some areas are off limits, even for those with a stolen ticket.
Sorry, sir. Can't let you through.
Just looking for the bathroom.
Other side of the bar.
Dialogue from other characters can offer clues to the mission's progression. Listening in on conversations is a useful intelligence tactic, potentially revealing opportunities for an easy breach.
If he doesn't make an appearance in the next 10 minutes, he can watch from down here. Yeah, do that. Rob Minkley, Crux Magazine. And you are?
Rob Minkley. Sorry for the wait.
About time, Mr. Minkley.
I appreciate that they give you the option to choose the wrong name. I'm Mike Chadsfield. I don't know who that is. Ah. Okay. Bye. Candle martini shaken not stirred. How dare you, sneaky pickle? How dare you? How dare you? See what you've done, Jacob. See what you've done.
Rob Minkley. Sorry for the wait.
About time, Mr. Minkley. No miss gave up on you. Right then, go grab your camera and I'll take you past security.
What? Photography can be such a negative experience.
Don't recognize him.
First Light provides multiple pathways for achieving Bond's objective,
Looks you enough.
if he's prepared to get creative.
What?
All set.
Follow me.
Bond's gamble has paid off.
The balcony should give you an excellent view of the stage.
Sorry, miss, but this man can't go upstairs.
Relax, fellas. He's with me.
You say so.
I read your articles in Drux magazine on rogue AI and cognitive warfare.
Hopefully this is a good time to drop in.
You won't always receive the red carpet treatment, so sometimes you might have to take the initiative. In these highly volatile stealth situations, it pays to choose caution over direct confrontation, as everyone can be a valuable source of information.
Yeah, buddy.
Saunders, I'll be needing that key card.
Watch it.
What?
That needs a look.
Moments when Bond remains undetected offer the chance to survey hostile areas.
North exit. That's my way out.
Bond can use the environment to his advantage by choosing from multiple routes, exploiting opponents' positions or security vulnerabilities.
Christmas gifts just clog up our cabinets.
Depending on the situation and the odds, Bond can always go with a quick and blunt strategy.
Where is he? Could have played that a little smoother, James.
He got away with it this time, but they could have called reinforcements. Alternatively, Bond can opt for a more elegant style, using the scan from his watch to highlight options for distraction and misdirection.
What was that?
I don't know why more games don't do this, dude. Like, if you have multiple routes for something, show it. Show it. You know? Like, it drives me crazy when games like, and there's many ways that you could do this. It's just up to you to figure it out as the player. I'm like, okay, show me. And in this case, you're going to see multiple examples where they just like rewind it and show you again. And they're like, oh, you wanted to do it this way? Rewind it, show you again. Works great.
I'll have a quick look.
Who says the alarm? What's wrong?
Lock him in, baby.
Your Q gadgets are custom developed to be powered by resources found in the environment, so be sure to stock up when you have the chance. Aside from your signature watch, a gift from Q, you'll have other gadgets in your arsenal. The laser fires a direct beam of energy that can be used offensively against targets or tactically on environmental weak points,
Take care of that right away.
opening up strategic options to avoid combats or spring traps. The smoke device confuses and disorients foes, letting you pass through undetected, offering a chance for concealed stealth takedowns. The world of 007 First Lights will see Bond face different opponents, some of whom cannot be bluffed or charmed into compliance. Using a dart phone to incapacitate them will give you an opportunity to talk your way out with a charismatic flourish.
First, I asked for Boston's.
Yeah, so this is what I mentioned earlier, where you can see on the far right side, there's that instinct meter. And you'll see he spends half of it to use the bluff action, and you'll see what that looks like.
To talk your way out with a charismatic flourish.
First, I asked for Boston's.
Oi, I need to find Saunders. There's a chance the suspect is dressed as security. The bastard could be hiding right under your noses.
Damn. I'll keep an eye out for new faces. Damn.
But sometimes, hard as you may try to stay hidden, a fight is unavoidable.
And I personally like that little nuance that this can't be used for just anybody, because it makes sense, right? Like, this guy is the head of the security detail. He would know who's working for him. And so if James walks up and is like, I'm working on security, they'd be like, no, you're not. I don't know you. You're the guy. And then they go after him, you know? So I appreciate that they broke it up, where the underlings may not know everybody involved. They're an underling. Like, they wouldn't know everybody that's working that location. But the people in charge would. So you can't bluff them in the same way.
If he was from MI6.
What? Excuse me? Who are you looking for?
Relax, off-duty museum security.
Don't.
Having been discovered, Bond will need to rely on more than wit and charm to contain the situation. In melee combat against multiple assailants, you'll need to think fast. Combining throws, parries, and direct strikes with environmental takedowns and items.
Simon says, don't get up.
Sometimes James will need more than his fists to get out alive. When enemies show clear intent to shoot and kill Bond, you will be granted a license to kill.
Dun, dun.
Trained by the Royal Navy, Bond is an expert marksman. His Q pistol firearm is a great conversation starter. Enemies can provide additional firearms. You'll just have to borrow them for a moment. With quick thinking, you can turn the tables on your enemies by making the very environment a deadly weapon. Gadgets used for stealth and infiltration can also be deployed in combat to disrupt enemy attacks or provide further offensive options. Allowing you to fight fire with fire, or distract to make your escape. Adversaries come equipped with different levels of armor, requiring either greater ballistic might or tactical improvisation. To support him in challenging situations, Bond can use his own instincts. This mode will help you focus on your most difficult targets. Whether
Shoot his hand and he drops the gun.
Or environmental. Bond must be fast, cunning, and uncompromising to prevail in the world of 007 First Light.
Thank you for your visit. We hope to see you again.
Somehow I doubt that.
March 27th. Holla. Holla. So as you can see, these are some of the different tools that are going to be used. So like the lighter, we saw him use that. The cell phone, this is what's used to shoot the little vials. We don't know what the pen is for or the AirPods, but they're also going to be tools that you're able to use. They're doing a 24-hour early access, presumably March 26th. And then they're doing cosmetic skins and stuff as well. Deluxe edition upgrade at no additional cost. So there you go. Overall, I think what they showed is quite impressive, and I'm like honestly pretty excited for it. The caveat obviously being that they got to polish up performance. This is running on a base PS5, so I understand like it's not necessarily the best foot forward. There are going to be improvements to be seen on things like PC, just like every game. But I do hope that they can at least, very least, lock the frame rate on console. For me, I feel like that's a reasonable expectation, is that if you're going to target 30 on quality mode, you hit 30. You know, you're not dropping into the low 20s in some of these sequences. But I think a lot of what they showed, like even these smaller dynamics, the oil spills, some of the hacking stuff, the bluff system seems really interesting to me. It's basically Uncharted, but with the gameplay complexity of Hitman, which is not something we've really seen before. Like typically you get Uncharted levels of production value and like big set pieces and cinematics, or you get gameplay complexity, and you don't get both at the same time. They're trying to do both at the same time, and maybe the sacrifice to achieve that is performance, and that's why it's going to be rough. But hopefully they can polish it up and continue to make improvements on it. They seemed confident that they're going to be making progress and that they already have, but as with most things, like you can't just take somebody's word for it. We're talking about other games this week and next week, you know, like Borderlands 4 and some of the other ones, Chronos. And just because a developer says that something's going to be improved, it might mean it is. It might genuinely be completely fixed, but it might also be that they're going to try to fix it and they can't, you know? So you just always maintain a skeptical disposition. But I think the flip side of that, which some people end up in, is cynicism, and they end up just being kind of miserable and grumpy, and nothing will possibly make them happy. And we don't want that, because you miss out on a lot of cool, like honestly, a lot of cool games if you're just being cynical. I think that this has a lot of potential. There's some obvious areas for improvement and enhancement, but overall, I think that this could be a pretty special game. And I mean, again, the complexity of Hitman with the production value and set pieces and stuff of Uncharted, I'm here for it, dude. I'm here for it. So we'll keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. I didn't know it was launching in March. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it gets delayed a little bit. Given that they announced and revealed it for March, I think that they're confident in that time period. But you got to ask, what is the threshold for quality? Like, do they feel like what they showed at the showcase or at the State of Play is like good enough performance? If they can just get it running this well across the whole game, are they happy with that? If that's the case, we need to delay it, if that's the target to achieve by March. Because I think it should be running significantly better than this by launch. So it just depends on what the standards are, and it's not super clear on what those standards are in terms of performance. I'm sure next time we'll also see PlayStation, I'm guessing, is going to ask for like PlayStation 5 Pro gameplay the next time they show it. There's rumors, for example, of another PlayStation showcase later, even in this month potentially, but that they're going to be doing another one. And if that's the case, then I think that could go a long way. They might show it again there. Maybe they wait until like the Game Awards for another trailer or something. But I do think we see it again probably before the end of the year. And so it'll be interesting to compare the performance between the two. But overall, I mean, again, it's a game I want to see more of. It's a game that if they can get it performing, I think looks fire and looks right up my alley. They just got to get it performing at that level. A lot of games that run well don't look this interesting to me. So I'm excited to see how they pull this off. I'm here for it. It's not Unreal Engine. This is running on IOI's own proprietary engine called Glacier. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically their own in-house tool set that they've built from, I mean, the ground up, basically. It's their own baby. And it's got a lot of crazy cool proprietary features and stuff that they've built. But it's one of the reasons why they're able to have a game like this, because like Naughty Dog's tool set is not built to have this level of dynamics between like NPCs and different objects in the environment and things you can interact with. It's just not how Naughty Dog games work, so they've never built tools to make that possible. Whereas Glacier has been built with like Hitman in mind. So it's built to have that level of gameplay complexity under the hood at all times. So it's just a fundamentally different beast. You know, as for performance, that's what I think could continue to be improved, and we'll see if they're able to pull that off, because I think that's the primary concern people have. A lot of people are like, yeah, it looks really cool. I think it looks really interesting. I'm excited to see more. I just hope it runs better, you know? That's a good problem to have because you can make it run better. You can polish it up and optimize and stuff. You can do that stuff. It's relatively easy to optimize a game that people are excited about. It's really difficult to make a game people are excited about if they're not already excited about it, you know? So very interesting. Again, thank you to them for the opportunity to go see the game beforehand because it gave me the chance to make that video before they revealed it at the State of Play. That was pretty cool, and got to meet some really cool people as well, which is always awesome. And it's really nice being able to ask the developers in person a lot of specific questions about what's your ideas for post-launch support, what are your goals for optimization, what, like all of those awkward questions that you could technically email them but they probably wouldn't respond. We can just ask them directly and be like, hey, you're the CEO of the company, what can you tell me about expansions and DLC, and just see what he says. You know, it's that type of thing is really valuable, and I appreciate them inviting me out to see that. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what comes of it, because they got time. Yeah, what, 7 months, 7 like full months. We'll see what they're able to pull off. He took my thing.